All right, you guys, without further ado, we are going to go ahead with our DEA presentation with Divergent Investigator Ross. So give her a hand, guys. We got the tech issues down.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for bearing through with the technical difficulties. I'm a diversion investigator from the Drug Enforcement Administration. My name is Shericia Ross. I'm in the Birmingham office. We also have diversion investigator Deborah Watts over here. And today I'm going to talk to you about the One Pill Can Kill campaign. It's one of our outreach campaigns that we're doing right now. And I can't see the screen, so okay. So this is a statement and disclaimer that I have to give. The contents of this document do not have the force and effect of law and are not meant to bind the public or DEA in any way. This document is intended only to provide clarity to the public regarding existing requirements under the law or agency policies. I have no financial relationship to disclose. This presentation is for educational purposes. Materials, images, or sounds authored or created by parties other than DEA may be subject to copyright and are used herein in accordance with the fair use provision of the Title 17 USC Code, Section 107. DEA's use of the materials does not authorize persons outside of DEA to further distribute or use copyrighted materials. The mission of the Office of Diversion Control is to prevent, detect, and investigate the diversion of pharmaceutical controlled substances and listed chemicals from legitimate channels of distribution. So basically anything that's legally distributed, that's a controlled substance, while ensuring an adequate and uninterrupted supply of controlled substances to meet legitimate medical, commercial, and scientific needs. So everyone with a salt packet, I want you to open that salt packet. And I want you to count out maybe like 5 grains of salt and just hold on to that. And I want you to see how small those grains of salt are. So if you look at this screen, you'll see that these pills contain fentanyl. Fentanyl is extremely deadly. So I don't know if y'all heard about a lot of the rappers that's overdosing lately. A lot of them have fentanyl in their system. So if you see that first blue line, it's pointing at a pill that has little to no fentanyl. And then if you see, that's like 1 grain of salt. And then you see that green line where the arrow is, that's a small amount of fentanyl. But that one with all those blue dots, that's a significant amount of fentanyl. And fentanyl is extremely potent. We use carfentanil on animals, horses, to tranquilize them. And it's a synthetic opioid, and it's 10,000 times more potent than morphine and 100 times more potent than fentanyl. So there's a lot of abuse of that as well. So if you counted out about 5 grains of salt, if you could see how tiny that is, that's enough to kill you. That's enough fentanyl to kill you. One little packet of salt can knock out everybody in this room if it was fentanyl. So a fatal dose of fentanyl, if you can look at this penny, everybody knows what a penny looks like. It's small. So that's a fatal dose of fentanyl. A fatal dose of carfentanil is even less. So what our One Pill Can Kill campaign is basically targeting is telling you that if you take a pill that contains anything, if you buy one off the street, if you go on your mom's prescription cabinet and get a pill, it can be deadly because you don't know how much you can tolerate. Even if it's out of the cabinet, it can be deadly. So what the issue is with fentanyl is that there's all types of rainbow fentanyl coming out and fentanyl packaged up in these little gummy bears and Skittle packages, and kids can get a hold of that. And we don't want that to happen. So the biggest thing that we've been seeing lately is the rainbow fentanyl, and it comes in different colors and it's very deadly. So if you go to DEA.gov and go to slash the one pill, you can see facts about counterfeit pills. That's what we're seeing a lot among college campuses, high schools, among youth, because it's easy to get. The record quantities of fentanyl that DEA seized in 2021 are enough to kill every American. So just what we seize can knock out the entire nation. And I don't know how big you know that, it's terrible. So what I'm gonna talk to you about is emojis. So with emojis, a lot of youth are using these to find drugs. Not sure if you're familiar with any of these emojis. But emojis were originally designed to represent an emotion, event, or activity, but have recently taken on language of their own. Criminal organizations, including drug traffickers, have noticed and are using emojis to buy and sell counterfeit pills and other illicit drugs on social media and through e-commerce. The agency's drug emoji decoding guide should be taken only as a reference, as it is not an all-inclusive list, only a sample. The guide is supposed to offer parents, caregivers, and influencers a better sense of how the language is being used in conjunction with illegal drugs. So I'm not sure if you all can see this. It might be a little bit hard to see, but these are examples of what can be used on the internet to show that there are some type of illicit drugs that are being sold. We have the Percocet and the oxycodone. All of this can be found on our website, by the way. Xanax, Adderall, dealer signals. I know a lot of y'all know what the plug means. Y'all know y'all seen that on Instagram, TikTok, all those websites. Signals that say high potency, and they can be used interchangeably. Other drugs such as meth, there's diamonds and hearts and dragons for heroin and cocaine. We got the snowflakes and so on. So emojis on their own should not be indicative of illegal activity, but it's something you should look for if you're looking through your kids' phones or anything, or their social media. Coupled with a change in behavior, change in appearance, or significant loss or increase in income should be the reason to start an important conversation, parents. So if you know your kid and you're noticing that they're using these emojis a lot and they're suddenly coming around with more money, that should be some type of warning sign. So here are some more for some of the more popular drugs you've seen used with youth: oxycodone, Xanax, Percocet, and Adderall. What the overall take on this is that be knowledgeable of all of these emojis that can be used to indicate drug usage, and non-emojis and code words are being used widely as signals online in the online buying and selling of deadly drugs like fentanyl and fentanyl-laced fake pills. That means that deadly drugs are reaching our communities faster, easier, and cheaper than ever before, and they are just one click away. Yes. They can be used interchangeably. So it could be the Z with the plug or the dollar sign or anything like that. So a lot of the times the fentanyl that's being traced to like overdoses are being found in counterfeit pills that are sold on the streets. So most of the pills that are sold on the streets are laced with fentanyl, which is why if you're taking Xanny pills and for just to relax or anything, and you're used to getting it from a dealer that gets real pills, and next thing you know, he changes to fake pills, and that has fentanyl laced in it, then that one pill can cause you to overdose. So you shouldn't be using any drug that isn't prescribed to you anyway, and especially not one that came off the street, because you really don't know the chemical makeup of it. And they're using fentanyl to make you get a stronger high, which is what is killing people. So even more emoji drug codes, we have the $, that means for sale. We have those little red and yellow emojis for pills, like ecstasy. There could be a lightning bolt and a heart together. That could mean ecstasy. Then you can have just a leaf that means drugs in general, any type of drug. And then you can have like the diamond that could represent cocaine, crack, or crystal meth. And then you can have the needle for heroin, and then the rocket ship for high potency. So coupled with the $, the ecstasy, and high potency, you can find all three of those together, or you can find it separately. So does that answer the question that you had? So it doesn't always have to be just one of those or just a couple of those. They can just be interchangeable and used to represent any type of drug that they have. And of course, there's always new emojis coming out. So this is our biggest initiative right now, which is the One Pill Can Kill. What we want you to be aware of are the known dangers and accessibility of drugs online. It could be Snapchat, it could be TikTok, dealers are everywhere, and you just have to be aware of that. So never take medicine that wasn't prescribed to you by your own doctor, and talk to your family and friends about the danger of buying drugs online to spread the word that one pill can kill. And this is information that you can find on our website under the One Pill Can Kill campaign. So you can for students, you can look on the website and see the real consequences of counterfeit drugs that they're having on people. There are testimonial videos on there that have parents, that have victims and survivors of drug overdoses. So you can get an up-close look at how experts analyze counterfeit pills to determine their composition, and you can go to a lab and see the safety precautions as a senior research chemist that they must take to avoid the hazard of working with fentanyl and other unidentified chemicals. So if you take a grain of salt and just imagine that as fentanyl and put it on your skin, just that one grain of salt can kill you just with contact to your skin. And that's how deadly fentanyl is. So there are also animated videos on our website that you can watch, and it's geared at different age levels. So parents, if you have elementary level kids, there are videos on the website. There are also some for middle and high school kids if you want to go there with your kids and get more information. There are self-paced modules, and it could just be an activity that you do together so that you can know the dangers of using counterfeit drugs. So some of our DEA community outreach strategies are Just Think Twice and Get Smarter About Drugs. The Just Think Twice is a site that we have that gives you information about the harmful effects of drug use. This site includes information about various drugs, including facts and fictions about drugs and the consequences of drug use, as well as topics of addiction. And the Get Smart About Drugs website provides information for parents, educators, and caregivers to further help identify drug use and paraphernalia, warning signs of drug use, and the harmful side effects. So if you want more information to spread to any youth that you're working with, or to give any presentations about drug use, these are two great resources that you can use. We also have Operation Prevention and Campus Drug Prevention, and these are two more websites that parents and instructors and educators can use to get more information about drug use and prevention. Okay, so that was the boring stuff that we got out of the way. So I had to throw in that my UGA alumni status right now. We were the national champions for this past year. We plan on being it again. But are there any questions? Okay. I'm, I'm sorry. Fentanyl? I've heard it so many different ways. I guess it really depends on where you're from. I call it fentanyl. Do you call it anything else? So there's different names for it. Fent. I've heard that before. So it's one of those regional things that people say differently. Mm-hmm. No, it can come in contact with your skin. So, like a couple years ago, there was like an officer in my local area that just touched some, and she almost overdosed just from touching some. She didn't even realize she had touched it, and it can cause you to die almost immediately. He asked, was it something called a fentanyl pouch? We do have fentanyl patches that are usually used on like cancer patients or patients that are close to death to ease their pain. So those are, yeah, those are prescribed, and they're only used in a healthcare setting. And it's very small amounts. So most drugs are measured in milligrams, and fentanyl is so potent that it's measured in micrograms, which is smaller. So that's how small of an amount can kill you. Hold on, he's talking so soft. She asked, how do people get fentanyl to give to other people? So the fentanyl that's on the streets are most likely going to be fentanyl that was created in the lab illegally. Most of it comes from China and other countries. So it comes to the United States illegally, and it's distributed, of course, with all the drug and criminal organizations, and then packaged into pills most likely, or into any type of other drug. So it's not, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be from a legal source. Okay, so she wants to know what happens when a law enforcement officer comes in contact with fentanyl. Our special agents carry Narcan, and Narcan can be used to basically reverse an overdose. And sometimes it takes 1 can of Narcan, sometimes it takes 2. It just depends on what drug they were introduced to and how potent of the amount it is. So since we have a little bit extra time, what I like to do is share with you what we actually do outside of this. So I'm stepping in for our actual engagement person. So I'm a diversion investigator. So what that means is I make sure that anybody who has a DEA registration, which is your doctors, your pharmacies, the people who make drugs, the people who produce the chemicals to make the drugs, who distribute the drugs, and the patient, making sure that everybody stays in compliance from the beginning of when it's made till it reaches the patient. So we make sure that everything stays in our closed system of distribution. So with that, we also do, community engagement and all that kind of stuff. But we mostly do a lot of reports and do a lot of inspections. And if you want to come and share your experience, I've only been a diversion investigator for 4 years, but Deborah has been one for over 20 years, I think, or close to it.
Since 2003.
A long time, since before a lot of y'all were born in here.
Hi, good morning. My name is Deborah Watts. I am a I work for the Drug Enforcement Administration as a diversion investigator. As I just stated, I've been doing this since 2003. I've been with DEA since 1992. So I just celebrated 30 years with DEA. I'm also the recruiter for the New Orleans Field Division, which encompasses the state of Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So if anyone has any interest of becoming a diversion investigator, you can reach out to me and I can tell you about our job series and what you have to go through to become a diversion investigator. But like Shericia was saying, we do regulatory inspections of every person who obtains a DEA number. Like she said, that's your doctors, that's your pharmacies, that's your manufacturers, your distributors, anyone who handles a controlled substance from the maker to the taker. The taker would be us, so we don't make everyone have a DEA number, but we regulate the drugs from the maker to the taker. We also conduct criminal investigations of doctors who are perhaps overprescribing pain medications and getting their patients addicted. A lot of persons who end up being addicted to heroin start out getting an oxycodone prescription from their doctor for a little back pain. The stuff is very, very addictive, and I think sometimes with our job especially, it's really hard to convict a doctor for for being a criminal. They're basically drug dealers in white lab coats, because everyone believes that the doctor gave it to me, it must be okay. And most of the time it is, but you do have rogue doctors who exploit their ability to provide drugs to people who need them or want them to get high and maintain the euphoria that you get from taking opiates. That's where our job comes in. Now, Shericia and I, we don't kick indoors. We don't slap handcuffs on anybody. We have the agents do that for us. But she and I can build a case where that does lead to search warrants and arrests and convictions and things like that of rogue doctors, rogue pharmacies. It's a very rewarding career, especially in this day and time where a lot of people, your grandmother's hooked on, hydrocodone because the doctor gives it to her, and she wonders why she starts feeling bad when she stops taking her prescription. Now, she's probably not an addict, but her body is physically addicted to it. So it's a really huge problem in the United States. In Alabama, I think we're like number 3 in the entire United States for hydrocodone prescriptions. And that's surpassing, other places that have more population than we do. So it's a big problem here in Alabama as well. Any other questions? Okay.
In the effort to combat prescription opioid or any other type of prescription abuse, we do a national take back initiative twice a year. We have one coming up the second to last October. Was it the 23rd? No, it's not. It's the one before it. October 29th? Okay, October 29th for the National Take Back Day. P.R.I.D.E of Tuscaloosa does an amazing job working with West Alabama to set up different stations throughout the city where you can take back any unused prescription drugs. We don't want any needles, but anything, even vapes, you can take that and have it destroyed for free. So, so that prevents you from throwing pills into the toilet and flushing it, which is bad for the ecosystem. So we do that twice a year, and we've been pretty successful with getting tons and tons worth of drugs off the street. And I'm not sure how many spots you all have signed up for this year, but we usually get most of our prescription drugs that we get in the state of Alabama from West Tuscaloosa, so we do appreciate that. Are there any more questions? Okay. Okay, so she wants me to talk about the dangers of throwing prescription drugs or any type of drugs into the trash. So, I'm not sure how many parents there are in here, but throwing the prescription drugs in the trash, your child could get a hold of it, a pet can get a hold of it, and use it, abuse it, become addicted, die, or anything of that matter. So it's not safe to put it in the trash either. It's also not safe for the environment as well, because it goes to landfills and sit and all that kind of stuff. And it's not the way we do it. We destroy it by fire to a way that it's not even retrievable anymore. So that's how we destroy it. So that's probably one of the safest way to do it, is to take your prescription drugs that aren't used to a drop box or to our National Take Back Initiative and have it destroyed.
All right. So we didn't want you to leave empty-handed. We know you came all the way from Birmingham. So we got a small token of appreciation for you. So thank you for doing the presentation for us. So give her a hand, guys. All right, I think we have about 5 minutes. So if you guys need to use the restroom, you want to go visit the vendors again or anything like that, just let us know, and then we'll get ready for lunch, okay?